Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of the NXT Sour Graps thing. Normally I'd throw it to Kate, but she's not here because she abandoned all of us because she loves her sister very much. It's disgusting.
Wow. What are we? This
her sister, having battled through long COVID, decides to go back to school to get her degree, and she's graduating tomorrow. And Kate thought it would be a good excuse to leave all of you, the fans, high and dry tonight. So we don't have a Kate, but that's okay because we got something much better. We got AA, baby. That's right. It's an AA meeting. Two Alexes here to let you know that you need to accept the things you cannot change. And one of the things we cannot change is apparently how bad NXT is. So get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. It's a party all night long. And we'll be talking about this go home episode to NXT Battleground. So some interesting stuff. Honestly, there's a lot of these are the episodes. I'm here with Alexis Cardoza, by the way. We say AA, but maybe people don't know.
People don't know. Yeah, that's all right.
So, it's one of these episodes that is the most frustrating because you're not a habitual watcher of this particular program, but you know enough that you can drop in and figure it out as we're watching. But the episodes where I'm like, gosh, if they just did this, and this in the next 6 weeks, they would be on their path to something really great. And then they never do any of those things, which is the most frustrating because I see a pathway from whatever this is to absolute excellence. And they never do any of the things, which just makes it frustrating. So, like, there's really cool stuff here. I really love the face-to-face we got at the end of the show between Ethan Page and Trick Williams. I don't know how that's going to go. Frankly, I'm shocked they're not doing a three-way with Noam Dar. I guess Noam Dar is technically not. Maybe he's not cleared, but I thought that was the plan they were going to go with. They're not doing that. They're doing a one-on-one. I'm really intrigued by the TNA crossover, but don't actually think it's going to come to anything because, history. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened on the show tonight, provided they move forward with it in a good way. And I really want them to. And the problem is that I've seen them not do it so many times in the past.
I don't mean this in a bad way.
No, of course not.
But the people at the top of the very, very top of the mountain here at Fightful need to give you and secure you some good hazard pay for enduring this. And then you got to move over to the CW in a couple weeks here, a couple months. And oh boy, at least everyone will be able to watch it for free.
Yes, that's nice.
On your local CW network. It was a little rough for me. I got to admit, and I follow the product. I like to see what they're doing in every aspect of wrestling. One of my best friends is now the announcer there, so I support him. But Jesus Christ, I'll leave it at that. We'll talk about these amazing matches.
Fantastic. Mr. Bandana Head says, "Am I seeing double?" And Tom LaValle says, "Gotta do it. I'm seeing double. 4 Alexes." And that's the obligatory joke we get every time, and it's never not funny.
No, it's probably one of the best lines. I mean, at this point, you should just trademark that, Alex.
Right. Listen, if you were watching the review last night on Creflo Select with me and Kate, then you know why this is happening. And if you didn't watch that, then you don't. And no, I'm not going to explain it. Cookie puns. It's cookie puns. I'll even venture into baked goods puns. Cookie puns. We're doing cookie puns tonight. So far, we got a few from Ian R, who says Oba Femi already. That's leading the clubhouse. Try and beat it. And then I guess also the cracker aisle, the cookie and cracker aisle. Let's do that. Crackers and cookies. Cookies and crackers. We'll do that. Triscuit Team 2000. That's for Kate. Kate's not here. Blackpool Combat Club crackers. And Stacy Keebler-Eld.
Ooh.
Really good. So, yeah, cookies and crackers. Let's get it done.
Let's do it.
And Lieutenant Colonel Photo says Wendy Ritzer.
Mm-hmm.
And the Thin Minter Continental Champion. Oba Femi, also very good. And Biscotti Too Hottie.
Oh. Okay.
You know, we're
that one at Keebler got
really
me.
Good.
Yeah.
We're really good. Yeah. So we have a little storyline going into the night that then happened. They're not doing it on screen. They're trying to make it seem like a shoot when it's not a shoot. Because if it was a shoot, the things that are happening wouldn't be happening. But I respect that they're trying to do like this is odd kind of a deal with it. But Brooks Jensen, officially known on this show as the Beej, has been off of TV now for some months. He was in a little faction with Josh Briggs, Double Vest, and Fallon Henley, Horse Girl, and they decided to go their separate ways amicably. Josh Briggs got a little bit more aggressive because one time JBL said 4 words to him. And then Fallon Henley turned heel because she didn't like being people's friends anymore. That all happened separately and with a great deal of time separating it. But we haven't seen Brooks Jensen since he got his ass handed to him by Oba Femi a couple of months ago, maybe 3. I don't know, a couple of months ago. And he's been doing stuff where like there was a rumor started that he had been released. He hasn't been released. And that this is why he's reacting this way on social media, posting all this stuff. But he crashed, quote unquote, a live event with a sign that said Brett would book this better. So immediately on this show, he is now a babyface. Huge babyface turn for Brooks Jensen, who held up a sign at a live event and said Brett would book this better. And has been posting stuff online on his Twitter, little jokes at the expense of things, but also being like having a really good point because like Booker T, again, whatever the opposite of a friend of the show is, that's Booker T. Booker T went on his podcast or whatever, was asked a question about it, and he said that he thinks that Sexy Red and Lola Vice should have a twerk off, Jesus. On television. And Brooks Jensen had a really good point that feels like a shoot, even though the rest of this is obviously a work. This feels like it should be a shoot if it's not. But he says this is the problem. Lola Vice is an incredibly accomplished athlete, and yes, she's beautiful, and yes, she's good at shaking her ass. But if you reduce it to just she shakes her ass, you discount all of the work that she's done to get where she is on the program. And that sucks. And he relates it to himself of like all these people who come to the PC every day and train and try to get better and go to classes. And like you just reduce it to like shock value or like just sex for the sake of selling sex. Yeah. And that's a really good point by him. And anyway, long story short, too late. He shows up tonight during the show. During a commercial break, he like apparently hopped the barricade and like was yelling at Vic Joseph during the break. And not Booker T, who we should have been yelling at because that was the guy he had a problem with before. But anyway, they had to drag him out of the building. And then when they came back from that break, it's Vic Joseph looking like he'd seen a ghost. Like he did not like what he just had to thing. And Booker T, like, well, it's a very odd night, to say the least. We're trying to get everything back to normal here. And then Booker T says, I hope that kid gets some help. Or something like that. I hope that kid's going to be all right. And then it was like, what kid? What are you talking about? Because we had to find out from a cell phone camera posted to Twitter what the hell happened. Then Brooks Jensen goes into his car and does a little thing into his phone about how, like, I don't understand why I was the guy who came in with no, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, was always respectful, was always here on time, put in the work. Like, he doesn't say this, but I'll say it. I mean, I didn't like how they booked it, but it's truth. Former NXT UK Tag Team Champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why I'm the guy who gets crapped on. There's no communication. And then when I go to talk to somebody about it, they escort me from the building. Like, but you know what the best part about this is? Now I can go anywhere I want. Again, playing into the whole he was released thing. I can go anywhere I want. Maybe I'll go somewhere where I can make an impact. And so they're doing a story where he'll jump to Impact for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier in the night, somewhere in there, we got a thing where maybe Tatum Paxley goes to Impact. Now, this is what the thing should be, of a trade between an exchange of players, and figure out what this is. But what do you think about this whole Brooks Jensen worky shooty thing?
When I saw I was, first of all, when they came back from that, I was like, what is he talking about? So obviously exactly. I immediately went into the Twitter machine, where, normally I go to get the best wrestling content in the world. And I saw the video and I'm like, for a second, I was like, the way that the security guard was pulling him back, I was like, oh, was this something
right
that seemed like someone was really upset? But the way that they played it off on television afterwards was like, you got me. You got me, but I'm not that dummy. But yeah, I think for them, this could be the right way to integrate the different talent into the programming. I don't think WWE is going to be sending anybody like of high end value to TNA, man.
No,
I just don't see it at all.
Listen, I really like Tatum Paxley. I think there's a really bright future for her, but it is not a one-to-one trade. For Jordynne Grace goes to NXT, right. And let's be honest, probably loses a title match versus Roxanne. Roxanne will probably cheat and protect Jordynne Grace, but
yeah.
And who are we sending back to get a title match with Jordynne Grace? Tatum Paxley, who's like not on the level of Jordynne Grace.
Right.
Like I like Tatum Paxley. I think she's got a really bright future, but at this point in her career, there's no way that's a one-to-one trade. So it feels like, but I'm interested in the like basic. I mean, it does feel like this. I'm sorry. I gotta call him like I see him. It does feel kind of like a Jack Perry goes to New Japan thing with Brooks Jensen going to TNA. But like, if he comes back to WWE with the kind of improvement, because he's been like allowed to do whatever he wants with promos and like characterization stuff, the way when Jack Perry left, honestly, at the point that he won the FTW title from Hook and then lost it back to him, if the thing that happened with Punk never happened, I don't think that the Jack Perry we've been seeing, who's been killing it in backstage promos, like, I don't think that guy exists without that little excursion, without allowing to be the scapegoat,
Yeah.
So I'm all for Brooks Jensen getting to like show out and be different. Cool. Let's see what happens.
100%. I agree with you with that. Let's see if that actually turns into something that flourishes for the person, right? Because we've never seen this before in WWE. We've never, like in the modern era, we haven't seen obviously any cross promotion. Back in the day, for anyone who's old enough to remember, we saw it happening with ECW for a little while. Other than that, we never really saw a WCW and WWE mix. Even in the early stages of TNA, that wasn't even happening. So
yeah. So we have some. We did have something here. Did we? Did I miss something? Oh, hold on. Well, we got something here that I missed. I wanted to. There we go. Jimmy Pringle says, "Amazing Alex, other amazing Alex, Kate, wherever she may be, abandoning you, JW Pringle, Papa, Mama, and Sister Elizabeth. Congrats on graduating." Yes, seriously, congrats on graduating too.
For real.
I have no problem with Kate's sister. I have a problem with Kate for valuing her sister over us. Luis and all the SGS, the beach has gone hard. Wait, what? Now listen. I don't want to. I'm not even gonna because I feel like that's just too obvious. The beach going hard. It just, I just feel like if I were to throw to an ad break here, it would just be way too obvious. So,
is your sex life stuck in developmental? Well, get ready for a call up with BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but how about this? No awkward in-person visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It ships straight to your door in a discreet package. But let me tell you, your package is not going to be discreet when you use Blue Chew, and the code FIGHTFUL helps give you that confidence, that performance to take you straight to the main event, if you know what I'm saying. When approved online by one of our physicians, it just arrives straight to your door. You're not going to have people nosing around with what you're doing. And right now, you get your first shipment free when you use the code FIGHTFUL. Go straight to the top. You know what I mean. Memorable performance, high spot, whatever other innuendos you can think of. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
He looked at me in the eyes when he was saying that, but
no,
I forget.
Honestly, it feels like he's talking to me personally, and I don't know what he's heard, but it is not true.
On Friday nights, Kate really cuts to my soul. Whenever she makes those transitions, bro.
No, yeah, I know.
She looks. I'm like, damn it, Kate.
Much. So we got Ethan Page showing up to start off the night.
Mm-hmm.
And security is there to escort him into the building. I've never seen that guy escorted into the building before, which is funny. Normally they escort you out. He got escorted in. So
oh God.
But Ava is gonna meet with her, and Roger Stone is with her. But so I don't know. Is this what he is now? Is Roger Stone Ava's assistant GM? Because he's not an agent anymore or a manager. He's I don't know. But anyway, he's hanging out. And at one point he comes out and makes a tag team match.
Yeah, it's a little weird. What they're doing with him.
I guess you're right. I have seen someone escorted in by security into the ringside area as opposed to into the building. I don't know if I've ever seen him escorted into the building, but I like that a lot. So that's good. So he's going to get his contract details ironed out. This is a thing that is a through line for the whole show. So we start out with Jordynne Grace defeating Stevie Turner. And it's Jordynne Grace. She's very good at this. And, she allows Stevie to get in some offense, but it was never in doubt. This is a thing to show her to the NXT audience who doesn't watch TNA. Those of the NXT, I'm not saying the NXT audience doesn't watch TNA. I'm saying part of the audience doesn't, certainly. Right. And those people don't know her work, maybe. So here's a little preview. This is why I always feel like you got to have one mid-carder, heel and face, in both the men's and women's division that is on a heater at any time. You know what I mean? Just ready to break through, or would be the kind of person that we've seen on TV several times who would run their mouth and get into a match with somebody.
Right. Something
like that. Because Stevie Turner, because I don't watch Level Up, I am not one of the 300 people who watch that weekly. I haven't seen her since she got injured, and she had 2 matches during that weird I'm a Twitch streamer thing, and then she would have a match that was, I don't know, a year ago, maybe more. And I feel like it means more to the viewer who's not familiar with Jordynne Grace's game,
right?
If she beats somebody they're familiar with, who also ideally who looks like they might be a threat,
right?
And because we're not familiar with Stevie Turner, this match just feels like it's obviously a tune-up, and that's all it is. As opposed to somebody who's I'm going to beat you for that. You go on, fight Roxanne, but I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. And when I do, I want a title match for that on your show.
Yeah.
And they're not going to win, But at least if somebody were to say that who wasn't Stevie Turner, maybe we'd be, a little. I'm not sure.
Yeah, when I saw her come out, I was just like, who? I felt like
yeah,
that was the first time all night, if I'm recalling now, the last 2 hours and 15 minutes that I saw the show, that I went back to see who that person was, and I couldn't remember for whatever reason. And it sucks because again, I don't. It's the WWE thought they're not going to just feed someone to a TNA. I'm sorry, they're not.
No,
this is a heavily one-sided deal, and it's always going to seem, even through NXT, is just gonna, hey, here we're going to give light to TNA this way.
Right.
This is our forbidden door, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that, especially for the women, you have this NXT North American Championship picture thing right here. You know what I mean? The perfect person to like get up in Jordynne Grace's grill and talk her way into a match would be Jada Parker, who's doing something else. Like, that's her character. We've seen her have several victories on TV. She's not at that level yet, but she sure thinks she is. And that's the kind of person who, if you had this match and she gets to throw bombs at Jordynne Grace, but Jordynne Grace comes back, hits the juggernaut driver on her, and all of a sudden for Jada Parker, that's some motivation to get to that level where maybe she could be Jordynne Grace. Like, that's a thing. But I understand that she's doing something else right now.
Sure.
The kind of person you want on retainer that could do that kind of thing in this.
And it won't hurt them. It won't hurt because you want them,
No,
when you're doing this deal.
Grace. Yeah.
Yes, correct. It's a one-to-one business right there, because Jordynne Grace is an incredible freaking monster of a talent. Yes. And you're kind of giving each other a compliment there at that point. Right. But hey, I'm just a guy reviewing wrestling.
Sure. I like this from ENR, with Ethan being escorted into the building. Is honestly, they feared for his safety. They didn't want Ethan getting killed in the dangerous NXT parking lot. I mean, that'd be a terrible thing. He's not signed, so he's not covered by their insurance. So if anything were to happen to him, he could sue them, which is why you got to have a phalanx of security surrounding him as he moves through the parking lot, right?
I love this.
So Trick and Lash Legend are kayfabe not gonna keep flirting. They're an actual item in real life, but they've been flirting on screen, and Lash says, whatever that is between us, that's gotta go, because I gotta focus on being the first ever NXT North American Women's Champion. And you have to focus on what you're doing. So Oro Mensah and Noam Dar do not appear on the show tonight. And looking like they're at least kayfabe out,
right?
Been taken out. So that's what they're doing now with this thing. And like Trick's here to like find Ethan Page and get some revenge for what happened last week. So, how familiar are you with Trick's game with the ladies, or have you not seen any of that?
I've seen none of it. I'm just going to be completely honest. First of all, this felt like a really weird novela out there in the parking lot.
No, you're not wrong.
If you guys follow Latin, soap operas, they tend to get a little bit weird in dialogue. And I was just staring at them, wondering what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Like, is someone going to die in the parking lot? Like,
right. Yes. So Charlie Dempsey is doing Taxi Driver into a mirror in the weight room, and he's not very good at it, but I get what they were going for. I get what they were going for in the scene. I don't get what they're going for overall. Does Charlie Dempsey think that if he is more of a mob boss or an Italian guy, that it will help him regain the Heritage Cup? Because I don't think that's necessarily why Tony D'Angelo is the Heritage Cup champion now. I think maybe it might have more to do with the fact that he pinned you in the match, not that he is more Italian than you are, Charlie Dempsey. I mean, yeah, it was. I listen. The little scenelet made me smile, but then of course that's how my brain works. I worry about what the next step is and how deep we're gonna get into this thing. You know what I mean? Like how far are we getting into? Like I'm gonna be more mafia guy than you are.
Yeah,
because I feel like I don't know if these particular talents can handle that level of nuanced comedy.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's just like 10 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
I said to myself, well, I'm in for a treat tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I'm able to be on with Alex because
mm-hmm.
I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
Yeah,
but everything that has already passed on screen here.
Yeah, but anyway, this is a little thing they do with Miles Bourne and Damon Kemp about before their match with the Heritage Cup. And Damon, you got to make me proud tonight. Capiche? Like, why am I saying capiche? Also, is it weird that we're all talking to each other into a mirror? Like, I think honestly, Damon Kemp, and we'll talk more about this when we talk about the match. I think that he's got a lot of like natural, just a natural quality to him that I think will serve him really well. But I thought it was very funny that he was just like, hey, good. I sent for you and now you're here. I got out of the car with you in the parking lot 5 minutes ago. What do you mean you sent for me? Like, there's potential here. I just don't want it to slide so far into what they deem comedy that it's no longer comedy, but we'll see. So Thea Hale is going to have her match versus Jazmyn Nix because Jazmyn Nix, by the way, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you read it on her thing, but that's not spelled like Jazmyn Nix. Because there's a Z in there and a Y and another Y and then an X. So we always talk about how many consonants there are in her name that don't belong there. But anyway, Thea Hale's going, and then Riley Osborne says, I'm not going to go out there with you. And Duke's like, yeah, I'm going to stay back here with him. And Thea's like, but we're Chase U. We all go out together every match. And Andre Chase is like, no. They're free to make their own decisions. I will be out there with you. And then Ridge Holland is like, are we going out there? And like, yeah. Is Riley not coming then? And Duke, no, they're not coming. Oh. And so they go out there to have this match with Thea Hale and Jazmyn Nix. Now, okay, so spoiler alert, later in the evening, for no reason whatsoever, JC Jane comes back from having her nose broken in a match with Thea Hale weeks ago. She just comes out during an unrelated thing entirely to stand at ringside. If tonight is the night that JC Jane is coming back, wouldn't it make more sense for her to come back in this particular spot to help to cost Thea Hale the match she has against JC Jane's protege, who was supposed to be taking revenge for JC Jane? I just feel like JC Jane was stuck in traffic and got to the venue late, and they were like, well, you're here. Would you like to stand at ringside for an entirely unrelated reason?
Right.
I don't understand why she didn't come out at this particular time, but she didn't. And the reason that Thea Hale is distracted is because the two gentlemen who decided earlier that they were not going to come to the ring did end up, in fact, coming to the ring. And that threw her off so much that she lost the match to Jazmyn Nix to a Pele kick. A good Pele kick, but a Pele kick which never wins matches. I don't care who's doing it. Pele himself didn't win matches with the Pele kick. You know what I mean? Like, he maybe won a soccer match, but he never won, or a football match, but he never won a wrestling match with one. So that was, anyway, it was just odd that if you're going to have her lose because of a distraction, and you have the person who's perfectly placed to have a distraction, you don't do that. You do something else instead.
And it's crazy to me the way you laid that out as I'm watching the show, and now you're laying this out. Where's the person who handles continuity.
They don't exist.
Okay, just making sure.
They just don't exist. I wish there was a person like that, but if so, they are terrible at their job.
Because I work in the independent film and TV industry, and that's part of our top 5.
Right.
A continuity producer on stage or on hand that keeps us on our toes.
Yeah.
To make sure we don't divert from the timeline.
Yeah. No, that's not. There's not one of those. Yeah.
So we just fill in the blanks ourselves as viewers.
We do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We get paid for that?
Yeah, I guess so. So Thea Hale is so upset that she's lost this match to Jazmyn Nix with the wrong letters in her name. And then, then Jazmyn Nix gets to go backstage and I guess wait for JC Jane's Uber to arrive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. I just don't get it. I don't get whatever this is. So anyway, this is an all-time dumb, just incidentally dumb Chase U thing. I'm on record as not liking Chase U from the very beginning, but I don't understand what this whole thing is like. Yeah, we're not going to come out to ringside for your match, because we feel like maybe you've chosen Ridge Holland over us, and he's not even he doesn't even pay tuition to go to this fake university, so I don't understand why you like him more than us. Just kidding. We'll come out and stand at ringside, kind of aloof, leaning against the barricade 5 minutes into the match, and then not do anything while we're out there. I don't know. It's just very, yeah. Anyway.
It's convoluted, man. It's and this is the one thing I was afraid of going into a show that I don't normally follow. I love the pay-per-views, and I get filled in by all the vignettes and everything that's going on, so it kind of keeps me fresh and honest.
Yeah.
But coming into an episode like this, where I'm in and out of NXT, kind of just I watch every other week or whatnot, it just leaves you kind of like having to fill in your own blanks and having to search for the answers.
Yep. Yeah. So on this program, we refer to the current NXT tag team champions of Nathan Frazier and Axiom as the Blurry Bros, because their entrance they do it with a weird filter on, which makes them look like they're running much faster, like the Flash. And so I call them the Blurry Bros because they have no actual tag name. So the Blurry Bros got jumped by the Good Bros.
Oh my God.
No word on where the Mario Bros were. I don't know if they also missed their Uber, but the Good Brothers beat up the Blurry Brothers in a merch truck. And then said, we'll see you at Battleground. And they got dragged off by some security. Maybe it's the same security that was stationed in the parking lot for the other reason. They're just hanging out and nothing else to do. So they, but yeah, they're getting their match at Battleground, but they didn't have the match tonight that they apparently were scheduled for, I guess. And then there's a little promo later by Frazier and Axiom, where they just say, you want to attack us? Well, we're going to do our attacking in the ring when we defend our championships in Battleground. So this match should be fun. Finally, the Good Brothers are actually paying off that they've been in NXT since March.
Yeah.
And, finally doing something of note. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won, but if they do, I really don't want them showing up on SmackDown to just kind of barely accompany AJ to the ring for his fake retirement. You know what I mean? They should be in NXT proper from there on out. So
yeah, I agree.
Shawn Spears is leading a seminar with some Javon Evans and a bunch of rookies that we haven't seen wrestle. Uriah something, I forget what his last name is. It's not Finlay because he's actually Finlay's kid, but we're not using Finlay.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
But he's had one match on TV. But we haven't seen him do anything else. And Javon Evans is there. And I'm wondering why Javon Evans, who is verging on like the third or fourth male lead of NXT at this point, I don't understand why he's sitting there like as part of this group of people who are all probably wanting to get some information from the former Ty Dillinger about what it takes to break into TV in NXT. And Javon Evans has fully done that already.
Mm-hmm.
And he also seems like he doesn't want to be there. So I don't know why he's there. But he's Shawn Spears leading a seminar, and in walks Josh Briggs. And Josh Briggs says, "Don't listen to this guy." Like, what are you talking about, Joshua? It's Josh. And anyway, I saw what you said about me last week, so at least we know that one person does watch the program.
Yes.
Because Josh Briggs was not around when Shawn Spears said those things about him. Most of the wrestlers, it is to be noted, do not watch the show.
Correct.
Otherwise, they would not be so surprised by things that have happened recently.
And I've heard you say that multiple times.
So Josh Briggs is like, you want to say something about me, then let's do it, let's fight or whatever. Now later, Josh Briggs is going to come out, but oh no, send a camera back there. And apparently Shawn Spears, out of view of the camera, hit Josh Briggs with a chair. I don't know if Josh Briggs is just not cleared yet, or they wanted to do this other thing instead with Shawn Spears. They seem to they do seem to have a plan in place one week and then say, you know what, instead we could do, what if we did this entirely different thing? And then it becomes like, how do we get from the thing we were going to do to this? So I wonder if they're, they were going to do this Josh Briggs thing, but say, well, we need to do a Javon Evans thing right away because we want to capitalize on how hot he is.
Right.
And so Javon Evans saves Josh Briggs from the attack by Shawn Spears by having a brawl with Shawn Spears that ends with Javon Evans doing a crazy springboard cutter from outside in, and just standing tall and talking trash to Shawn Spears. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out another segment here where how they're trying to use Shawn Spears here. Where does he stand? I'm a little confused with what he's doing now at NXT.
He came back and attacked Ridge Holland to prove that Ridge Holland is actually a very violent and reckless man, because Ridge Holland tried to prove that he wasn't. Listen, it's hard. This is one of those things where, like, I don't know how much of this you watched, but Ridge Holland showed up in NXT to try to prove that he wasn't a violent and reckless man without saying, because I'm the guy who maybe ended Big E's career. They didn't actually say it out loud, but they're definitely referring to it. And he's like, I would like to prove that I am not the man everyone thinks I am, i.e. very violent and reckless. By having a match versus Ilya Dragunov several months ago, and then in a kayfabe way that a lot of people online thought was real, horribly injuring Ilya Dragunov's neck, to prove that he was not violent and reckless. They had him do this thing that seemed kind of violent and reckless. And since then, it has not made any more sense. So Shawn Spears tried to teach him that he really was violent and reckless by having a 2-match feud with him that went nowhere, where Shawn Spears won the first one, Ridge Holland won the second one, and then they just moved on. And then Shawn Spears had a thing with Joe Gacy for a while, because Joe Gacy was crazy, but now Joe Gacy's part of the Wyatt Six, we think, so he hasn't been on TV for a while. And they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Shawn Spears. So being kind of crazy guy who wears a suit vest, but nothing else, talking to children about how to be better wrestlers is the best thing they got,
Okay, I was trying to piece things together, and I was just like, all right, storyline, what's happening here? I know we're big into stories and storytelling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
Yeah. It's what I'm.
God.
I have a weird recall of all this stuff I have to watch every week, but yeah.
Jeez, I'm so sorry.
Javon Evans versus Shawn Spears could be really great because Javon Evans is only 19, but ridiculously talented, and Shawn Spears has all this experience and has been a coach himself. So to have and again, I don't know if the plan is this. The last couple feuds that Shawn Spears had lasted a total of 2 matches and then 1 match. So, I don't know if they're going to do a long feud with Javon Evans, but Javon Evans could certainly benefit from it. You know?
Yeah.
I forgot. Like, Ridge decided to come out and say that he was going to retire, and then, and then he was part of the pre-show panel for Stand and Deliver, during which he grabbed a chair and hit Joe Gacy in the back with it.
Oh boy!
And then they never really paid that off, and he was just a wrestler again the next week. So yeah, it was dumb.
Wow.
So when you talk about continuity, I'm like, I think I'm the closest thing NXT has, and they just don't listen to me. So,
man,
we got our NXT North American Women's Championship Summit. The NXT Women's North American Champion. Women is it? I've heard it said in different. The only word that is never not where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's always NXT blank blank championship. But I never know if it's NXT Women's North American or NXT North American Women's Championship. I don't know. I'll figure out eventually. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do it.
They won't tell us.
I will refuse to figure it out, and I'll say it wrong every time. But this summit with all of these women is I don't know. It's moderated by Booker T. So right away, it's terrible because Booker T is somehow a worse moderator than he is a commentator, and I didn't think that was possible. I think it was possible for anyone to do anything worse than Booker T commentates wrestling, but he himself is a worse moderator.
Oh my God.
He at one point turns to the crowd and says, "Can I do the sucky ducky quack quack?" And the crowd just gives it to him. I mean, I don't know, but these ladies obviously all think they will win. All think that they deserve the title. All think maybe the title was actually invented for them specifically, and then they all talk to each other about why the other person is wrong, and it is in fact themselves that will be the winner of this ladder match. And it's just a standard fare, except for at one point we got to like Jada Parker talk about Trix Willie to Jada to Lash Legend, and it eventually just breaks down into a brawl where it was always going to do that, but you know what I mean? It's just
man.
It is fairly standard like thing for a match like this. I don't feel like I learned anything about any of these women.
I saw this. I started to pay attention to it. Then I got thirsty, and I don't remember coming back to it.
No, yeah, it's fine.
I don't know if they were trying what type of spotlight they were trying to put on the women. It certainly kind of wasn't hitting for me. I was interested in seeing what individually they wanted to do because I want to follow it, but it wasn't hitting home.
Yeah. It's right from Alpha Bill. It would be refreshing if one promoter actually said, "You know what, guys? I'm just happy taking part."
Sure.
And that would be nice. The closest we got to that was Kalani Jordan, who's like, "Hey guys, I don't understand why everybody's so angry, but I think I'm gonna win." And they were like, "You're gonna win. I'm gonna win. You're gonna win. I'm gonna win." It was basically the whole thing. Now Jada Parker, I think, is a very natural talker, and she did well in her segment, but also it always, all of these things always boil down to, I believe that I will win the match. And the other person saying, "How dare you?" I believe that I will win the match.
Sure. Yeah.
And when there's 6 of them there, then it just does that ad infinitum to each other forever until the brawl starts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like was anything that was really learned here. And then while they're brawling, the heels, although Lash Legend is turning face, but she's not face yet. Right. So the heels, Jada Parker, Fallon Henry, and Lash Legend get sent to the outside. The faces are standing tall, and out walks Robert Stone, who says, I have just been authorized by Ava to come down here and say that if you guys want to fight tonight, you can do it later in a 6-woman tag match. And I was like, you were authorized when? This, like, right now? Are you... Like, I love that he had to come out and go, Ava told me I could do this, because if he didn't say that, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure out what he's doing.
I thought that was kind of funny. So yeah. Mr. Showtime says, what was Kehlani doing, Jordynne doing when she's saying the Lonnie thing? I think they're trying to give her own nickname, like Lonnie's. I don't know what is it a good alliteration for Lonnie? Because I'm like, because the only thing I can think of is Lonnie's gonna lose, and you don't want that for your own nickname. That's bad. So I don't know why Kehlani doesn't work for them, but maybe they want to just change it to Lonnie Jordynne. Maybe they think that's better. It snaps more. I don't know. But it was weird when she said it. I didn't understand. I didn't like go, oh, that's you. You know.
Yeah.
So we get the NXT Heritage Cup match. Tony D'Angelo and Damon Kemp. Now, on the way to the ring, Tony D'Angelo did this thing. He was talking to somebody. He was like, they were like, so what do you for the Heritage Cup match and all this stuff? What are your plans and all this stuff? And like, well, I got my guy Luca Crucifino over here. He's looked up contracts, and he assures me that we know all the ins and outs of all the rules of this no quarter clutch clause. So rest assured, we will be using it to its fullest tonight. And he walks to the ring, and also in their gear are Stax and Luca Crucifino. Now, Tony D is by far the better wrestler of all three of these guys. Mm-hmm. So it would make no sense for them to choose anyone but Tony D'Angelo to defend the Heritage Cup match, the Heritage Cup. The thing with the No Quarter Catch Club before, when he who shall not be named was the leader of it, is that they were presenting themselves as we all train together, we all know each other's moves, we can all counter all of each other's moves, we're the best wrestlers, grapplers, so it doesn't matter which one of us defends the cup because we're all just as good as the other one. And while I didn't necessarily believe that, that was certainly the thing they were running with for that group.
Right.
It doesn't make sense for another group who's not like that to do it. So what I thought they were going to do was to realize that inside the catch clause, there's some kind of thing in the fine print where you can have a different guy from your faction wrestle every round. So a fresh dude in there every time. Like start out with Crucifino, and then Stax, and then Tony D takes over, and he wrestles for the rest of the match. I thought it was like the idea that you would do a thing for now weeks, I think, of Luca Crucifino looking into, I've read everything about this no quarter clutch clause, and I found a few things in the fine print that might surprise you. And the whole thing was, yeah, we're just going to have our best guy wrestle the whole match. How is that a surprise? How is that a surprise?
Surprise.
It just isn't. So the surprise is that Tony D wins 2 falls to none.
Yeah.
Maybe not a surprise, but usually they let the other guy get a fall in here. Kemp almost did, but it was saved by the bell, last second, and the ref's hand didn't get a count to 3. But I love that Tony D's got 2 finishers now. He's got what they call the forget about it, which is his twisting fisherman suplex, which is awesome. And then he went with that for the first fall, and for the second fall, started right as round 4 started. Kemp ran right into this big Farouk spinebuster, which I also love, that he could just lay somebody out with. That was great. Damon Kemp is a diamond in the rough. Like, I think he has a hell of a natural quality when he speaks. He's got a good thing. He knows exactly when to underplay the comedy. Most wrestlers never know when to underplay the comedy. So, like, that's a big thing for me. Then, apart from that, he's also got, like, he's one of those dudes who's like, would you like me to do like the triple German suplex, but instead I'll do it like 5 or 6 times in a row. Like, he's got that kind of ability in the ring to, like, throw guys around. He's a suplex machine. Like, that's some really cool stuff as well. I think there's a lot that Damon Kemp can still do and beyond NXT. There's a lot of that kind of stuff there. He feels like a dude who, provided that Chad Gable does resign, if Chad Gable is going to be a guy leading a faction of grapplers on the main roster, just put Damon Kemp in it tomorrow. He's ready for it. Like, he knows how to do that. Whenever he needs to talk, he'll be able to, and he'll be able to do a bunch of suplexes.
Yeah.
He's very good and highly underrated. Unlike his brother. Gable Steveson, who John Wick GM reminds me that Gable Steveson, who got released because he just wasn't picking up anything, and then also has, like, people he worked with who are no longer with the company who feel safe to be able to do this on Twitter, saying, like, yeah, this guy was terrible. He never put in the work, and he thought everybody should just kowtow to him. He got signed by the Buffalo Bills as a defensive lineman, John Wick, and I was like, oh, he probably played that in high school or something. Nope. Has never played football in any kind of organized way. And the Buffalo Bills are like, yeah, sure, let's give him a shot. And I feel like I don't feel like that's going to work out for Gable Steveson the way he thinks.
I don't know, man. That man is maybe he's a freak athlete. Maybe he's the second coming of the Brock Lesnar type.
He is, but Brock didn't make the squad when he tried out for the Vikings.
He definitely did not. Yeah.
You know, like, that was weird. That was a very odd thing, and I don't think it's gonna work out for old Gabe.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So, now, when did we? Okay. Ava is interviewed about what the because we see Ethan leave the office and is like, you know, you're going to sign that because I got all the leverage. I cannot, with all of these crazy, you know, things that you asked for, I can't possibly sign this contract. Like, you're going to do it, and we're going to do it in the middle of the ring because we're going to do that out. We're going to do it in public in front of everybody, whatever. She gets interviewed and she says the same thing. I can't possibly sign this. Look at all these things. But we also get Jordynne Grace walking backstage, and, like, she has a reunion with Mia Yim, who they wrestled several matches against each other in TNA. And then Jada Parker comes over to be disrespectful to both of them, and she says, you got to straighten that out. Oh, don't worry, I'm going to muzzle her. I got to go get changed for our big match. Put a pin in that because I'm going to get back to it later. And then she also walks and she talks to Sol Ruka, who's very complimentary, and says, I'm a big fan of yours. You are so jacked. You got to tell me how much you squat. And she says, you got to tell me how to do that soul snatcher. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And then they walk out, and then they're walking along, and Ariana Grace walks up to her and says, I don't know if you know this, we have the same last name, though we're not related. And listen, if you take the crown off of her and the sash, I am 1000% in on this character. They have never, to my knowledge, ran a Who is Miss NXT beauty pageant. So I don't know where she got the sash or why she thinks she can just call herself that. That's weird. But everything else about the character, she is Delulu in the best way. Fully delivers on the character. I think she's doing great. So I just wish the crown and the sash weren't there because it doesn't make any sense to me. However, I love Tatum Paxley coming in and being like, that's a really beautiful belt.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's the most important thing in the world to me. And then after she leaves, like, it's the most important thing in the world to me too. Which Tatum Paxley's done a thing where like she was fixated on the women's championship a couple of like a month ago, and they kind of dropped that. So like Tatum Paxley stalking Jordynne Grace in TNA, like getting to like really use her character chops, where TNA really lets people like get into the character stuff.
Yeah,
I think that'll be great for her when she comes back. She'll be fully inhabiting the character and stuff. But it makes me wonder just how much of the crossover we're gonna get. But I'm fully down for Tatum Paxley having like a month long where she just shows up in TNA and doing stuff.
Sure, that's one of the things I was saying before. Like that's the great part about having good talent get a little bit more freedom to explore within themselves, right? I think she's definitely one of them that could 100% really take advantage of this partnership if they go that way.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Her meeting, most of the team there.
Yeah.
We gotta look at Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler. This felt, incredibly well produced.
NXT Battleground.
I liked that they got some MMA people to be like, "Oh, Shayna's gonna kill her."
Yeah,
like, because like it is interesting. Like Shayna Baszler is one of my favorite women's wrestlers of the last decade.
Really,
I love what she does when she is allowed to just be what she is, which is this absolute killer. Elbows, knees, ripping off limbs. Like the thing of it is the way she was booked in NXT.
Yes,
because she was a champion.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She was allowed to be that. And then the weird thing was like she came up to the main roster. First thing she did was like take a bite out of Becky Lynch.
Yeah,
that was weird. But then, like, still, no one's ever done this, and it was the coolest thing in the world when they did it. And the apex of what she was, even better than in NXT. In the Elimination Chamber match, she beat everybody. She pinned or submitted all 5 of the other women in there. And she did the other 4 so fast that she was standing in the middle of the ring alone when the last pod opened.
Yeah.
Asuka exited her pod, and there was nobody else in there but Shayna. Like that is some of the most dominant booking I think I've ever seen, man or woman. And
I don't know
Asuka,
why. Yeah.
And then she went to WrestleMania, and Becky apparently fought for Shayna to go over, and they just said, no, all of the no fans in attendance will be very upset if that happens. And then they just didn't do that. And she's been wallowing in mid-card hell for a long time on the main roster. I like this pairing she has with Zoe Stark, but like this is the kind of match that would feel like this is Shayna's match.
Yeah.
Like if this was the kind of thing, like going back to who she was in NXT, if this kind of match existed, this is the character would have insisted all of my title defenses are fought in an NXT Underground match.
Sure.
Because if you're going to beat me, you're going to beat me at my game. If I'm losing this title, you got to come into my house, into my ring where there's nothing protecting you, and see if you could beat me. That would have been an amazing thing. And I like this, but I still feel like Lola Vice has got to win. She's the NXT up and comer. She'll probably win via chicanery or whatever, but it's a battleground match. Really can't cheat in it. So we'll see where this goes. But like this, they have an opportunity to really do something with this for both women that could be great.
Shayna to me has that old school vibe. We come from an era, Alex, where in wrestling, when you wanted to settle something, you settled it in a specialty match. Yeah. People that wrestled were that had a special gimmick, kind of like Mankind, Boiler Room match, Kane, Inferno match, right? All these matches, casket match with Undertaker. You knew those matches were coming. Shit was gonna go down. Excuse my language. Yeah. But with Shayna, man, if they were to have that mentality with her, and she would have all her matches, like you said, and it like triggered, it rung the bell in my head. It's like, bam, she would be such a dominant beast, regardless of if she was in the mid card, floating around, whatever. When you knew that Shayna was going to come into the ring into one of these matches, you were going to get fucking hell. You know what I'm saying?
I want to believe they're doing this women's NXT North Women's American Championship. I want to believe they're doing that as a test balloon for a mid-card belt for women on the main roster.
On the main, yeah.
Because I just hope they don't wait so long that like Shayna's like she's 40 now or whatever. And because sometimes the test balloons, they take a long time for them to actually pull the trigger on something.
Mm-hmm.
She is the perfect woman to hold a main roster mid-card title and insist on defending it in that kind of way in the fight pit or whatever. And that would be like a major deal for the mid-card women to like have to come after her. And if you're going to beat her, you got to beat her like in this way to do it. Like it would be a really cool thing and make the mid-card women feel special and different and unique.
Go back to the mid to late 90s. Ken Shamrock was a mid-card player. You never thought you were going to see Ken Shamrock come out of anything else. Yeah. That man held that Intercontinental Championship. And if you wanted to fight him, you fought him in the goddamn octagon. You know what I'm saying? And that's where he had his matches. If you were to take a women's Intercontinental Championship and instill that into the main roster, my God, she would be the perfect candidate to run around and beat. You want this? Come and get it.
Yeah. She'll be 44 in August. If there's anybody I want to be wrestling as a woman in their 50s, it's Shayna Baszler.
Shayna's older than me. There's no way.
She got a really late start coming out of MMA into wrestling, and it's crazy to me how good she is at the wrestling part of it, apart from the MMA part of it. I really love her. Like she's.
That's insane.
I would love for her to have this really cool like end of career run. Like she'd be the perfect person to win that Intercontinental title for the women, and then say, "You beat me for this. I'm retiring."
Yeah.
And she doesn't retire for 2 years because nobody beats her for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that'd be a really cool thing because she would be at the age that she would retire. And like that would be an awesome way to send her out as the first Intercontinental Women's Intercontinental Champion, the first one, setting a record that no one's going to break for 15 years. And when she goes out, the person who beats her gets a huge rub, and she retires on the back of it.
How is Natty younger than her? My God,
I don't know. That's crazy.
Natty's been wrestling for 37 years.
Yes. Jam Beard says, give me Jordynne versus Shayna.
Huh. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, the match would be fucking great.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? It would be just like, let's see if you can be so powerful when your shoulder's out of joint.
Yeah.
Like those are the kinds of matches I want to watch Shayna wrestle because she's like, you're way stronger than me and faster than me. Let's see how fast you move when your ankle ligaments are hanging by a thread. You know what I mean? Like she's the kind of person who finds little things like that.
That's the type of match that I think I would use the old AEW time limit draw, because you would have these two women beat each other to a pulp. You know what I'm saying? Like they're strong, they're agile. One could rip your arm off, like you said. One can put you in a vertebrator and into a table or whatever. Like it'll be such a badass man. I love women beating the crap out of each other. I don't know what it is. Big women beating the crap out of me. I love big women beating the crap out of me. I don't care what it is. Let's just do it. Like I want to see women wrestle.
Yeah. So apparently this was set up like in a tweet by Natty, and then they kind of referenced it on the show, but not really. So Carmen Petrovic got shoved backstage by Izzy Dame last week, and Natty is here to like protect her protege, and so Natty has a match with Izzy Dame. Izzy Dame is 5'10", a former volleyball player. She really like looks way bigger than all these women. And Natty, of course, is a pro's pro and has been doing this forever. And when I tell you how long she's been doing it with a number that's going to floor you, you'll realize I'm doing this as an understatement. But she's a pro's pro, been doing it for a long time. And she had a thing last night where she lost a match to Kiana James. And then she was like, "It's time for a change. I'm sick of this. It's time for a change." Which, of course, is the immediate predecessor to a heel turn. But then she showed up in NXT to like protect her sweet protege, Carmen Petrovich, which is not part of a heel turn. But then she won this match versus Izzy Dame with a roll up to like escape, to like get out of the match as fast as possible, because otherwise I'm going to lose. That's how it feels when that kind of roll up is done. And then she was like surprised. She was like, "Oh, I did it." And then she says to the camera, "I told you, it's time for a change." So my question is, why is a woman who's Natty shocked that she beat Izzy Dame and needs this as a validation of the change that needs to come? Because Izzy Dame, including matches that have not been televised, has wrestled 42 times in her life. 42 matches. Natalya has wrestled 1,567 just in WWE. That number is over 1,700 if you encapsulate her entire career.
My God. And
so the idea that you would be like, "Oh my God, I beat Izzy Dame. That's right, a change is gonna come." Like, it just feels like you could call her the boat, but if she really is the boat, then she should have been able to like submit Izzy Dame with a sharpshooter and walk out going like, "That's right. Last night was a blip on the radar, but I realize who I am now. I'm Natty effing Hart. Yeah. You want to step to me? That's what you're gonna get," as opposed to, "I can't believe I beat this rookie."
Yeah,
she should be better than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't believe we were just talking about Natty, and what a great segue. Almost, I'm professional here. I'm a big professional.
You are that.
What are we gonna do with Natalya? She seems like, to me, she's like the I don't mean this like in a way like they're the same person. I mean in wrestling world.
Yeah.
Like the great Moolah, she was part of WWE for 176 years. Until her dying breath, basically.
Yeah.
Do we see Natalya being this involved in WWE and in wrestling with the younger talent and whatnot?
Apparently, she's her contract's up soon. So, like, one of many and many and many others.
Many, yeah. Those 2019 contracts and 2020s coming up.
I can't imagine that she would go anywhere else. She feels like pretty much a lifer. But the minute she decides to step back from being a full-time wrestler, she's your head women's coach.
1,000%. She should be booking all the women's matches.
Like, not like her and her husband, TJ Wilson, former Tyson Kidd, should just be the bookers of the women's division.
Yes.
Let's lay out all the matches. They should figure out, like, they should work with creative to figure out what here. Okay, so you telling me that this woman needs to beat this person. Okay, now you go away.
Yes.
Now the wrestlers and the two of us will lay out how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Great. And I mean, this thing about her is you could also have her come out of retirement.
Yes.
And have a little run with somebody for a while and then go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you ruffle the feathers. She comes in, beats you up, slaps you around, teaches you a lesson. The thing too is when Natalya is like, how much the reason why I bring that up, Alex, is because I want to know how much more can we refresh her character. Last night, enough is enough and it's time for a change. Like, but what is the change? Because we've kind of seen this happen a lot. When Eva Marie came back, like her and Mandy, like there was a lot of things that have happened in the last 5 years almost. So I just want to see what, with her inclusion to NXT, how is it helping the younger talent there?
And again, if she wants to leave, Like, just have her just go to Stardom for a year. You know what I mean? Just wrestle these amazing Japanese women. You know what I mean? With the amount of anyone with 1,700 matches under their belt is going to be an asset to any company. So, like, yeah, absolutely. Natty should go wherever she wants, but she has so much to offer beyond being a lady in the mid card. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
it.
she's
That's
got
it.
so
Yes.
much. You know?
Yes.
So anyway, I guess a change is going to come for Natty. A change is on the horizon. We'll see what that change is, and it could be nothing, or it could be, I don't know. She dyes her hair brown.
Ooh.
You know, that's what Mandy Rose did when she turned heel. All she had to do was just go in there and get the brunette look, and then she's a heel now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. The Good Butters were banned from the building, so they're not allowed to be there. So their opponents for tonight were Tyreek Igwe and Tyson DuPont, who we know on this show as Team Tai Tai, or also Team Bouncy Beef, because both boys are beefy and bouncy.
They are.
And I was excited to see them wrestle somebody, but instead they got laid out by Gallus during the commercial break. And Gallus cuts a promo about how they're going to ensure that Joe Coffey comes out of Battleground with the North American Championship. And honestly, it's a triple threat. So this makes all the sense in the world. It's, if you got these two guys who are these bruisers and they're not banned from ringside, the first thing I would do if I was Ava would be to ban them from ringside so this couldn't happen. But if they're not banned from ringside, then you've got these two guys who should literally come to the ring wielding sledgehammers. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that says they can't just hit people with weapons. You can't do triple team moves on people, because it's all legal. There's no disqualification. So we get Oba coming out and says, I would be a fool to not regard you gentlemen as a threat. You know what I mean? Which is, there's three of them, and none of them are small guys.
No.
So he's coming out here, but if you think you're leaving with my title, you're crazy. And then Wes Lee shows up and is like, yeah, that's right. So, you know, all these crazy Scotsmen and Oba Femi, who's gigantic, and me, well, I'm just going to have to do whatever I do. And he jumps into the ring and immediately gets laid out because he's Wesley and they're building sympathy. But like, they also triple team Oba, and he gets laid out with a clothesline. But I would love for Gallus to enter first for this match, and they'd be standing there. And then Wesley comes in and he's like, oh crap. And all three of them are standing in the ring. And yeah, they're like, they've come dressed to fight. They've got their knuckles taped. Like, it's obvious they're all just gonna be in the match and fight.
Sure.
And then Oba comes in and the two guys jump out of the ring to like take him out on the ramp while Wesley and Joe Coffey go a few rounds. And it's just Oba having to get through Wolfgang and Mark Coffey on the outside of the ring before he can even get into the actual match. So you're wrestling Wesley and Joe Coffey against each other one-on-one, while you have Oba in a handicap match on the outside. And he's trying to fight both guys at once, and they've got chairs and kendo sticks and whatever. And he eventually throws them, does a double choke slam off the stage. I don't know if there's a stage at the fucking Battleground thing, but through tables. So he's finally put them out. But this is like 7 minutes into the match.
Sure.
And then he's been beat up, but he goes down there, and now it's an even fight. 1-on-3, one-on-one, triple threat. Except he's taken way more punishment than either of the other guys. Because what they've been doing a lot of is like, Oba is unstoppable.
Yes.
So let's throw as much as we possibly can at him for him to overcome, so that it's not just obvious, like he walks into the ring and just choke slams a guy and that's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think there's a really cool opportunity for Joe Gacy to say, I can pin Wes Lee. I'm worried about that guy. But if I send my boys at him immediately, maybe they can neutralize him long enough for me to pin Wesley, and then I'm the champion, which makes Joe Coffey smart. But those just two guys together can't quite take out Oba Femi. And I think that if you lay out the match that way, I think it could be really compelling.
Yeah.
They won't. So we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Interesting. This is the first time I really paid attention to Gallus. I thought the promo was just a little too long, just a smidget.
No,
obviously, they were trying to get to the point where everyone comes into the ring. They were trying to tell their story, but I think it went a little bit too long. I think if they would have gotten cut off earlier, it would have been a little bit more impactful. That beatdown, even though it was still strong.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what they're gonna do. Gallus does look like a freaking. Like a great goddamn freaking heel group. Like, I mean, they have it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping to see what comes out of it on Sunday with them.
Okay, so
and what a name, Gallus.
Yes, that's some kind of Scottish Highlands word for something. I don't know what. I don't know. So Dragon Choo is a thing we've been wanting for years here. Wendy Choo used to be Mei Ling, something like that. It's been a long Mei Ling. I think Mei Ling.
Yeah,
she was Mei Ling, a 500-year-old dragon lady who sat on a throne and breathed smoke. And it was a thing at the tail end of Black and Gold. Mei Ying, thank you, Mei Ying. She sat on a throne and she breathed smoke, and she had Boa, who's since been released recently,
yes,
and Xia Li, who were like these people that like there was an old guy who like kidnapped Boa and Xia Li and took them, I think, all on a slow boat to mainland China, where like they were systematically beaten down and molded into these killers, right? And then they would wrestle their matches with Mei Ying sitting on her throne with her like her hair like the girl from The Ring, where it was like all stringy in her face. At one point, she would get up and just like vape in people's faces.
Yes,
that's what it looked like, and that was how she would. And she had like I don't know if she had an actual official match, but anyway, that all went away. Like it just petered out and they didn't do it anymore once because it was Hunter and Sean's baby. They loved it. And then when Hunter had the heart attack, they just said, we're not doing this anymore. Mm-hmm. And then he was repackaged in no one's ever been repackaged harder than 500-year-old dragon lady to girl who likes to sleep a lot. There's never been at all.
That's crazy.
She fought a jobber and then lost to Indy on 2.0.
Oh my god,
that's right. For years, it's now years, I've thought they could really do a cool like Three Faces of Foley thing with her as being like Karen Q, regular person, Wendy Choo, who's her weird alter ego who likes to sleep, and also a 500-year-old dragon lady, Mei Ying. And there was a cool thing we could do there, and then we just like melded it. What if she was both the sleepy girl and also the dragon lady? So we called it Dragon Choo, and Kate hates it. She hates the idea so much, and so the chat will tease her with calls for Dragon Choo every now and then. And tonight, we actually got some weird version of that. I mean, it's not quite Dragon Choo, but like the whole thing is like she's been sleeping and she wakes up, she's wearing her little onesie, she puts on her little cow pajamas, she goes to the ring to the bathroom to splash some water on her face, and for a split second she looks up at the mirror and she's got these really dark rings around her eyes and these weird contacts. They're doing something with her. And I mean, like, I don't know what it is yet, could be terrible. But I just want to celebrate that we're finally getting some version of the thing I wanted for a long.
It seems like it's probably going to. I forgot that she did that whole freaking mesh hat covering face gimmick. God, that feels like it was 30 years ago.
Yeah. Rob Villa says, so is Wendy Choo now a sleep paralysis demon?
Oh,
kind
that's
of
scary.
And then also says 1, 2, Wendy's coming for you. I mean, I don't know. We could see where this goes, but next week she's going to re-debut next week, and we're going to see what the hell this is.
Wow.
Jambeard says, "Arise the Dragon Chew."
Interesting what they're doing with this lady.
I'm interested to see what it is, because I have a lot of faith and belief in Karen Q, who plays Wendy Choo. Like, whatever they give her, she's going to do her damnedest to nail it. The material may be so awful that she's helpless, but she will do as much as possible.
She will die on that sword.
You know what I mean?
With her 500-year-old breath.
Lexis King talks about Dante Chen and how he might have beaten me 2 times and got lucky twice, but what happened after that? What happened? I laid him out on the concrete. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Because last week you very obviously pulled up the padding and laid it on top of each other, and then did your finisher to him on the double padding.
Yeah.
And so you referencing that by saying you laid him out on the concrete, when everybody who watched the show very much knows you did no such thing, is very funny. Then Dante Chen, he says, "What happened to him?" And then he's gone. I laid him out. He's never coming back. And then immediately Dante Chen comes back. And they fight, and they have a brawl and say, "Oh, we're gonna finish this. We're gonna finish this." So they announced later in the night that next week it'll be Lexis King versus Dante Chen in a Singapore cane match.
Oh boy.
Dante Chen is actually from Singapore, so I guess that's why they're calling it that instead of a kendo stick match.
Mm-hmm.
But they called them Singapore canes in ECW in the mid-90s because of the pop culture phenomenon of the American kid who spit gum on the sidewalk or whatever and was sentenced to 40 lashes with a quote-unquote Singapore cane. So they were colloquially known as that, but people then realized, well, they're used other places, and to tie the entire country to that particular method of corporal punishment when other countries use it, and it's been done for centuries, and to basically just, it feels maybe that we should just give it a different name. Cut to 30 years later when they're like, yeah, let's just go back to calling it a Singapore cane. It's fine. The guy's from Singapore, so how could we not call it that?
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Should get his ass whooped though.
No, Lexis King should absolutely get his ass whooped. I don't think he will, because they're gonna they think
we push AEW guys now to the top. Yeah, adrenaline in my soul.
Right. Okay. So. We get a 6-woman tag match.
Yeah, we do.
And they said you guys are going to fight each other in a 6-woman tag match later tonight. And we had very clearly drawn the line between the teams. The 3 baby faces were in the ring. The 3 heels were outside the ring. And then we assumed, at least I did, we were going to get those 2 teams fighting each other. Also, in a backstage segment, Mi Chen talks about how I'm gonna muzzle that girl tonight. And then they come out and they're on the same team. So there's one team that has 2 heels and a face, and one team that has 2 faces and a heel. And I guess that means hey, everyone for themselves, no alliances in this big ladder match on Sunday, which I guess I understand if you hadn't already cleanly delineated how you were going to do the tag match, and then insinuated we were going to get to see Mia Yim and Jada Parker square off in the match.
Yeah.
But the way that this was all put together seemed to me from the very beginning that obviously before the end of this match, the teams are going to turn on each other.
Yeah.
And so then when it did, it wasn't a surprise, and it seemed kind of pat and obvious, and it's just a thing that they did.
All over the place to me. I'm sorry, it really did feel a little bit crazy there in the beginning. I was like, is this wait a second, what is happening here? Is everyone facing each other? Like, I've kind of lost count what was going on in the ring.
Yeah.
By the way, Sol Ruka, that finisher's pretty, I don't know.
It's one of those deals where she used to have to do it out of the corner.
Yeah.
So you, in order to be beaten by her, you had to be standing 2 feet from the corner, looking at the corner.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she couldn't do it to you.
Yeah.
And my thing was, just don't stand there, and you've beaten her. She has no way. If you sit down in the middle of the ring, you just sit there, you're winning the match, because she can't do her finisher to you unless you are standing. Now at least she can do it off the ropes, on one of the edges. But it's just one of those things where I've outsmarted you.
It's a big girl,
you cannot
too.
beat me.
She's like tall and thick, like she can get up there, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. So listen, it's a fun little finisher. I don't know what doing the spin adds to it.
Yes, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like doing basically she's doing like a front flip, and then when she flips over, then she grabs you,
stuns you.
But they're not creating any extra momentum with the flip. You're actually flipping in the wrong way. Like
right.
It's an RKO with a completely unnecessary extra step. It's fun to watch, but it's like, in a practical way, it has no value whatsoever.
So all you have to do is just move an inch either direction.
Yeah.
And the match is over.
Yeah. So ends up being Lash getting pinned by Sol Ruka earlier tonight. She said, "Oh, ain't no way you're gonna snatch my soul, girl." And then she did by the end of the night. So I like that they actually paid that off. So yeah, this was fine. We got basically all this broke down into Jada Parker and Mi Chen beating the hell out of each other.
That's where I was a little confused at first, because I was just like, wait, why are we fighting each other here? What's going on? We're friends right now.
And then it was all the teams like that didn't like each other ganging up on each other.
Sure.
Hitting each other in the face who were on their own team, but whatever. The ladder match should be a lot of fun.
It's going to be
Brian
cool.
Cicchini says, feels like Fallon should win the North American title. That's who I hope wins it, simply because she's been around the longest. And I feel like there's a bunch of women who got drafted to the main roster, or at least two for sure, Kiana James and Blair Davenport, who would have absolutely been North American champion had there been such a thing a year ago. And there's a bunch of women on the main roster who would have been this if the thing had been there 5 years ago. Yeah. So like the idea that like Jada Parker, who's been there for comparatively 5 minutes, is going to be the first North American champion feels odd. I don't know, but the back and forth between her and Mia Yim makes me think they might have, because really Mia Yim's doing nothing on SmackDown.
Correct.
A surprise Mia Yim is the first one, and then has a feud with Jada Parker over it, and then loses to Jada Parker by Heatwave in July, and then Jada Parker has a long run with it. It feels like a way of being like, of acknowledging, because Mia Yim was great in NXT, but was never at the point where you thought she was going to be women's champion. She had a lot of title matches, but you never thought she was going to win them. And I think they're acknowledging, if they did it this way, they would be acknowledging, if we had this belt when Mia Yim was here, she absolutely would have gotten a title reign on the mid card. And so giving her this now, and then allowing her to work a program with, and then put over Jada Parker, who is the future, that might be the way I would like for them to do. But, it is.
Jada Parker looks another, like, she has that, like, Jade type of style wrestling, man. Strong, big.
Yeah. So Shikini says that maybe if Fallon didn't win it, she would have a small program with Julia after Julia wins it. Julie wins the major title from Roxanne.
Oh, so, got you. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And if she won it, she wouldn't do that anyway. Right. So Patrick Moore says, Sol Ruka has snatched my soul. Something about her makes me want to keep watching. Am I alone in this? Alex, do you still have a soul? I don't know which one of us he's asking. I haven't had a soul for a long time.
Yeah, I lost my soul about 23 years ago.
Yeah. Lieutenant Colonel Photo says, I have an issue with her using Shang Tsung lines. Like I will swallow your soul or whatever he says, you know. I feel she's not quite I get like you want to do like a hey, her name is Sol Ruka, so soul thing, but snatching a soul feels like something a heel would do to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Eddie Thorpe does another video about the sacred fire or whatever, and the first one I thought was better than this one for one very specific reason, because he's cutting this promo about the sacred fire that he wants to like, just like the people. The Native Americans wrestlers of old, I want to open doors for the future and to shine a light on my people for representation's sake. And one of the people he names is Chief Jay Strongbow.
Yeah.
Who very famously was not at all Native American. No. And that dude's more Italian than Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah.
Like that. There was a huge thing about like, I guess they thought Italians had a similar shade of skin because most of the guys you see playing Native Americans in the old cowboy movies are all Italian guys. The old actor who cried, the Native American who cried in a commercial about Don't Litter, was Iron Eyes Cody, Italian, full-blooded Italian. So it's weird that because you named Chief Wahoo McDaniel 100%. That dude was absolutely fully, the Briscoes I know have some in them, but it's came out like a long time ago that they admitted that Chief Jay Strongbow was not at all Native American. So it's weird to be like, for real Native Americans, like Chief Jay Strongbow.
I know, like when they name dropped them, I was like, wait, they really just it's kayfabe.
It is. It is. So Ethan Page has his big segment where he's sitting out there with Ava. Oh, also Ava on the way to the ring. Stevie Turner comes in and is like, it really wasn't fair of you to put me in the ring with Jordynne Grace. And I like that they're doing something with her where she's like conveniently forgetting that she demanded this match last week. So that's the kind of heel she's going to be. Fine. So we got her out there basically saying, I can't possibly sign this thing. Oh, you're going to do it. He listen, Ethan Page is so great on the mic. The way he just like all these guys doing their normal NXT stuff. And he's like, no. I'm the one in the ring who's about to sign a lucrative contract with NXT. And I got the microphone, so you shut the hell up. Like he would just pivot to like shutting him down, and he's a really great talker. He's really, really good at this. And it does feel like, especially with Dragunov gone up, and Mello gone up, and Braun gone up, that like Trick is incredibly over. And with good reason. He's a fun character. He's athletic as hell, but you forget that he's been doing this for like 2 years. That's it. And like he was a wide receiver, I think, before this. Like he wasn't. This was not a thing that he planned out to do until he was in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
And Ethan Page, this is what he does. You know what I mean? So you get them together and you go like, okay, well, this one's the athlete who's a good talker, and that guy is a professional wrestler. You know what I mean? And it feels to me like I'm watching like NXT with him there. All of a sudden, the playing field is completely unleveled.
Yes.
Because this is my thing. I thought Ethan Page deserved a lengthy TNT title run in AEW. Like he was, every time I saw him, I thought he was really good in the ring and amazing as a character and on the mic. And I just thought to myself, watching this, going like, you know what? Just have Ethan Page win on Sunday and call Trick up. He's made for the main roster. you could do something with him. But Ethan, having anyway. So the whole thing is Trick comes out and says, "You sign this guy because I want to beat him up." And he says, "I can't sign it because one of the things in the clause in the thing is that if I sign him, he has a title match versus you 1-on-1 on Sunday we can't do this." And he's like, "No, I want it. Let's do it. Let's have this match." And it is unprecedented for a guy to come in and sign and get a title match right off the bat. But I don't know if you want to cut his legs out from under him by having him lose that match. That's why I thought it was going to be a triple threat with Noam Dar being pissed. He was going to have a match versus Trick, but then he got attacked. And he thought it was Trick, but it was actually Ethan Page. I got cleared. You put me in this match too. It's a triple threat. And then Noam Dar takes the pin from whomever wins, probably Trick, so you can play out this feud with him and Ethan for a while longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see Ethan get, when he signed with AEW, I honestly wasn't very smart enough to who he was, for whatever reason, whatever happened where he wasn't on screen as much or doing, on and off, cold and hot, it was just whatever there. But, without that experience, he wouldn't be here and hopefully gets called up into the main roster. But I think he's going to do great at NXT. I think this is his wheelhouse. It's a fresh new beginning for him. So he's full of piss and vinegar right now and let him go off. Let him go off.
Yeah. So apparently after the show, Oro Mensah ran in and attacked Ethan Page from behind.
Oh, boy.
I think that might be what they do with the finish of the Battleground matches. They have Noam Dar and Oro Mensah cost Ethan Page the match because he's the one who laid them out. And then they kind of cement the Noam Dar's face turn, and that way they don't have to break up. His Last Legends turning face, and they all come after that guy, and then he can be pissed about that. Have matches with Oro Mensah, beat him, have a match, maybe a couple of matches with Noam Dar, beat him, and then win something to get another title shot at Trick. Maybe that's what they do.
Yeah.
It just feels like something they would do. But listen, a shocked title change. Trick just became champion. Ethan Page just showed up. You want to do a thing where everything's a surprise now. Jordynne Grace showing up from TNA is a huge surprise, but she was in the Royal Rumble before. That same episode, Ethan Page runs in and attacks Trick Williams. That's a huge surprise. Keep going with it. Ethan Page beats Trick Williams.
Yeah.
Then, if you wanted to, you could do, and they haven't done this forever. It was actually pretty cool when they did it back in the day with Shinsuke Nakamura, I think, and Samoa Joe, where they traded the belt a couple of times.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind that. That would be kind of cool. We haven't seen that in a long time in NXT, but these two guys being pretty evenly matched, and you could have Trick win it back from him, and then finally when Ethan Page beats him the second time, that's when Trick goes up. There could be something that could be really fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I with their change and Ethan Page made a comment about it that they are changing channels soon.
Yes.
This is for those of you guys who don't know. Yeah. Stores are putting up fall and Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
This is the time. Yeah. Television shows are starting to get ready for fall sweeps.
Yes.
And him just mentioning that as someone who works in the industry, I understood what he was doing there. They're setting something big so that when they switch over to the CW here in a couple weeks, months, or whatever it is, you guys are going to see maybe the Ethan Page era. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
I'm here for it, man. I wouldn't mind. Like you said, you traded off a couple of times. You set up a great feud, part 3, part 4, part 5. I haven't seen that in years. I would love to see it. And why not in NXT where you can get away with it?
Sure. Yeah, it's a different thing than on the main roster. On the main roster, everybody's got to hold a title for a year.
Yes, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll also have to see what kind of chemistry they have.
Yeah.
Because they've obviously never wrestled a match against each other. So, sometimes it just ain't there, but I feel like they'll figure it out. Luis saying that he could see Ethan losing Sunday, but then winning at Heat Wave because it'll be in Canada. Near enough to Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. that it'll be a home thing for him. So we'll see. Yeah.
Very good show, everyone.
Hey, so Jambeard has a telenovela pitch for you.
Let's do it.
You were talking about this. Okay. Nurse lady who healed a coma guy back to health is now with child. Twins. But coma guy isn't the only father. His evil twin who put him in the coma is the other father. She's got twins from 2 different guys.
That's insane. But doable.
Right?
But doable.
Yeah, certainly.
It's a good plot.
All right. Puns and then a couple of jukeboxes and we're out. Kylie says, "Whoa, double Alex!" Heart eye emoji. Hope y'all are doing well. We are doing. Thank you. So we are doing very well, Kylie. Thank you. All right, here we go. Cookie puns. Insert clever Tegan Knox pun. Says Tegan white chocolate macadamia Knox cookies. I do love a white chocolate macadamia.
Same, dude.
Not all the time, but like as a change of pace. Like if you go to an event and they have a cookie platter sitting out, like the chocolate chip, you know what the chocolate chip is, but like you got to try the white chocolate macadamia nut just to see.
Oh, that's so good. Christmas time.
Ricardo says Greg the Hammer Valentine's Day cookie. Ian R says Ivy Nyla wafers.
A little hard on the tongue, but
it looks better. It looks better on the page than it would say outside. But yeah. This is good from Ian R because he knows how much I love Bam Bam puns. Bam Bam Biscotti.
Ooh.
And Eric Biscoff.
Oh, that works so well. Really Eric Biscoff.
Meet Norma says Samosa Joe.
Oh.
Penta El Cerro Macaroon.
Okay.
Toll House of Black.
Oh my God.
And for you, Spooky Scottish Chipwitches.
Oh, that works so well.
Yeah. Lieutenant Colonel Photo says Cosmic Foley brownies.
Oh my God.
It's good. Ricardo
Some of these
says,
are good, man.
Yeah, they're really good. We have some really good punters here at the SGS. Meet Norma says, "Sup, partners? Cookie Monster Among Men and Shortbready G."
Oh, that's good.
Shorty Bread G? I'm not really sure which is better. Shorty Bread G? I'm not sure. Ricardo says Rocky Azucar Cookie Romero.
Oh my God, that is so good. Yes.
Insert clever Tegan Knox pun says Butter Tegan.
Butter
Tegan.
Butter
Tecan Knox. Ricardo says Pepperidge Farm Niven. Tom Valley says Pepperidge Holland Farm remembers.
Oh my God.
Pepperidge Holland. Lieutenant Colonel Photo, Matthew and Snickerdoodless Jackson.
It's a big one.
This is a big one. Lieutenant Colonel Photo says chips up, Ritz out, and watch for the pate à choux.
Oh, that's good.
That's amazing.
Damn.
ENR says famous Omas.
Yes.
Not famous, but famous Omas. Meet Norma says it's a Fig Newton Day. Yes, it is. Seth freaking raisins. Seth freaking oatmeal raisin. Yeah. And Action Biscotti. Not Action Andretti.
Oh, I like that. Biscotti's taking a couple wins today.
Yep. ENR says the GOAT of wrestling moves, Shortbread number 2. Ricardo says world's strongest snickerdoodle.
Okay, I like that.
Jambeard says Samoa Joe girl guide cookies.
Oh, that was hard.
Oh, like Samoas. I get it. Yeah, girl.
Like, yeah, the Samoas. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Are they called girl guides in Canada? Because they're Girl Scout cookies here.
Right.
M says ginger snapmare.
Oh, that's good.
And superstar Billy Graham crackers. And then ENR says, It's Saltines! All right. We got some we got some 4 jukeboxes, no more. We're gonna get out of here on time. So here we go. Tom Valley wants Braun to sing "Crying" by Aerosmith because it says "sob" on it.
There we go.
There was a time when I was so broken-hearted. Love wasn't much of a friend of mine. Tables had turned, yeah, because me and them ways had parted. That kind of love was a killing kind. So listen, all I want is someone I can't resist. I know all I need to know by the way that I got kissed. I was crying when I met you. Now I'm trying to forget you. Love is sweet misery. I was crying just to get you. Now I'm dying because I let you do what you do down on me. Yeah. Get these lyrics. Okay. Oh, okay. So I get it. So they're not girl guides. It's a reference to what he did on Edge and Christian show, where he dressed as a girl guide and was running a racket. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. So Tyrone Kidd wants Dragunov to read "Go the F to Sleep." I'm not familiar with this one, but as a daughter, maybe I should be. As a man who has a daughter, maybe I should be.
I believe that's
Jesse
Morgan
Ozog
Freeman?
says maybe. Jesse Ozog says Otis Meal Cookie.
Oh, yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. The cats nestle close to their kittens. The lambs have laid down with sheep. You are cozy and warm in your bed, my dear. Please go the fuck to sleep. The windows are down, dark in the town, child. The whales huddle down in the deep. I'll read you their one very last book. If you swear, you will go the fuck to sleep. There's a lot more stanzas here. I'm not gonna read all of it, but thank you. Ricardo wants, in honor of Ethan, who's all ego, he wants LeBron to do Carly Simon's "You're So Vain."
Oh, LeBron.
Not LeBron. Braun Strowman. Come on. There we go.
LeBron.
LeBron, not LeBron. No, different guy. You walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Your hat strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf, it was apricot. You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself gavotte. And all the girls dreamed that they'd be your partner. They'd be your partner, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I'll bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Thank you. Two District Mayhem says new member of the Bloodline. Hold on. Chips and Hawaii. Not Ahoy, but Hawaii.
I like that.
Okay. And then finally, Dusty, the ghost of Dusty Rhodes, to sing Hand Pocket by Best Friends Forever, as requested by Mr. Bandana Head, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. Hello there. Oh, I'm sorry, it's you. I'm not used to talking to a gentleman. Usually there's a lady here, blonde with bangs. But I'll just sing my song and get on. So here we go. Put my hand in your back pocket as if it were your own back pocket. Sing with me, Bree, la da da, cause singing makes me want to do it. Thank you. Skate with me to the place where I once met with mortal danger. The ice was thin, and I fell through it. And when I got out, I was panicked. And when I'm panicked, I can't skate. Oh, no, Daddy. When I got out, the bruises on my knees were enormous. And that's hard times when your bruises on your knees were enormous. Once my dad took me ice fishing. I was cold and bored and found myself wishing I was doing anything else but ice fishing. So I wandered away with my head in outer space. I fell into a hole my dad had drilled into the lake. When he pulled me out, my dad's friends could not stop laughing. I almost died. It was so embarrassing. But I'm alive, so you can fall in love with me. If you will. Anyway, I got to go back to the great beyond, so I'm going to leave, but I guess there's somebody else here.
No one has a song for me to sing tonight. Right, well, I mean, it's the first night of Pride, so Ricky Rainbow has to make an appearance, but there's nothing for me to sing. Oh, here we are. Hearts on Fire from Tom. That's it, and there's no more, and then I will leave. Someone needs to find me these lyrics. No, I don't. Stop sending these in. I don't want any more. Right? Okay. Thank you. No more, because we're gonna get out of the. So find me these. I don't know. Hold on. I'll look up on the Hearts on Fire, and then you look up the other one, Louise, because I have my lyrics. Hold on, lyrics. Here we are. Okay. Let's see. Here we are. Sudden darkness creeps into your soul. Envy moves the light of self-control. The cage that holds you captive has the door, burning with determination to even up the score. Hearts on fire, strong desire, rages deep within. Hearts on fire, fever's rising high. The moment of truth draws near. Thank you. Ricky Rainbow sings Thank You. Amy T. Swizz. Is there a song called Thank You? By Amy T. Swizz. I'm not familiar with the game of one Amy T. Swizz. Is that a song? Thank You, Amy by T. Swizz. I don't know this song. So let me look it up. Thank You, Amy, T. Swizz, lyrics. Oh, by Taylor Swift. T. Swizz is I don't know what that is. I'm not. When I picture my hometown, there's a bronze spray tan statue of you and a plaque underneath it that threatens to push me down the stairs at our school. And it was always the same searing pain, but I dreamed that one day I could say, all that time you were throwing punches, I was building something, and I can't forgive the way you made me feel. Screamed, fuck you, Amy, to the night sky, as the blood was gushing, but I can't forget the way you made me heal. And it wasn't a fair fight or a clean kill each time that Amy stomped across my grave. And then she wrote headlines in the local paper laughing at each baby step I'd take, and it was always the same searing pain. But I prayed that one day I could say, oh, it's the chorus again. Thank you, Amy. Keep cool, gabagoos. See you for Battleground on Sunday. Kate will be back. Bye.